Try to imagine a house. So ordinary it barely registered on the street. The kind of house your eyes slid past without effort. A pale blue two-story home with white trim. Neatly clipped hedges lining the walkway. Children's bikes leaned against the garage, one missing a chain, another with a bent wheel. It was the kind of place where nothing ever seemed to happen. And for years, nothing did. Inside that home lived Daniel Mercer, a man most people never noticed, even when he stood directly in front of them. Daniel worked nights as a janitor at the county courthouse, arriving after the last judges had left and the lights in the prosecutor's offices had gone dark. He cleaned trash cans, wiped fingerprints from desks, and vacuumed hallways where decisions were made that shaped entire lives. Daniel was soft-spoken, socially awkward. He avoided eye contact. To many, he barely existed, especially to Richard Hale. Hale was everything Daniel was not. A powerful local prosecutor with an iron grip on the county's justice system. He was well-connected, well-dressed, and well-feared. His reputation preceded him everywhere. A single phone call from Hale could end a career. A raised eyebrow from him could shut down an investigation before it began. He lived just 2 streets away from the Mercers, and he made no effort to hide his contempt for people like Daniel. To Hale, Daniel was just help, a nobody. A man whose presence mattered only when the trash needed to be emptied or the floors needed to shine. And Daniel endured it. For years, Daniel's life had never been easy. He grew up bouncing through foster homes, learning early that speaking up only made things worse. Silence kept him safe. Obedience kept him fed. By adulthood, staying unnoticed wasn't just a habit. It was survival. His wife, Emily, was his opposite. Where Daniel withdrew, Emily leaned in. She was warm, hopeful, endlessly patient. She believed people were good, or at least capable of being good. Together, they raised 3 children who still believed that kindness mattered and fairness existed. But kindness did not matter to Richard Hale. It started small, almost invisible. Snide remarks when Daniel cleaned Hale's office late at night. Careful, janitor. Don't steal anything. Complaints filed over imagined slights. Accusations that Daniel had damaged property or moved files. Claims proven false by security footage. Each time, Hale's word carried weight. Each time, Daniel absorbed the humiliation quietly, until the night Hale crossed the line. Emily had taken a part-time cleaning job to help cover medical expenses. It brought her, briefly, into Hale's orbit. According to later testimony, Hale cornered her one evening in an empty office, implying her job depended on her cooperation. His meaning was clear. Emily refused. The next morning, she was fired. Daniel tried to file a complaint. It went nowhere. No one wanted to challenge Richard Hale. The message was unspoken but unmistakable. Know your place. And Daniel did, or so everyone believed. What no one knew was that Daniel had been listening for years. Working nights taught him patterns. When offices were empty, when alarms were disabled, which doors were never checked. He knew the courthouse better than anyone who worked there. He knew how power moved through the building, and more importantly, how it hid its mistakes. Daniel also knew something else. Richard Hale was corrupt. Late one night, while emptying a trash bin in Hale's office, Daniel found a folder that should never have been thrown away. Inside were copies of sealed documents, evidence of witness tampering, bribe payments disguised as consulting fees, emails that linked Hale directly to several overturned convictions that had quietly disappeared from public attention. Daniel didn't take the folder home. He didn't photograph it. He didn't tell anyone. He memorized it, every name, every date, every transaction, and then he waited. The night everything ended began quietly. Neighbors later told police they heard nothing unusual. No screams, no gunshots, no raised voices, just silence. When officers forced their way into Mercer home after Daniel failed to report to work, what they found stunned even veteran detectives. Daniel's wife, his 3 children, and Richard Hale. Hale's body was found in the living room, seated upright on the couch. His hands rested neatly on his knees, almost respectfully. There were no signs of struggle. No defensive wounds. Only a single gunshot to the chest. Daniel Mercer was nowhere to be found. At first, investigators believed what the scene suggested. A man pushed too far. A janitor who snapped. A quiet nobody who finally broke and took everything from himself and the man who ruined his life. Case closed. Except nothing made sense. Security footage from the courthouse showed Daniel had never left work that night. He was on camera, moving from floor to floor, exactly as scheduled. Phone records placed Richard Hale at the Mercer home voluntarily. And the autopsy revealed something chilling. Daniel's family had been dead for more than 12 hours before Hale arrived. They had not been shot. They had been poisoned. Slowly, deliberately, the truth emerged piece by piece. Emily and the children had been terminally ill. Daniel had known for months. Medical records showed advanced genetic conditions, painful, irreversible, and devastatingly expensive. Daniel had watched his family suffer in silence, just as he always had. When Hale's actions destroyed Emily's last chance at affordable medical assistance, something inside Daniel finally shifted. Not into rage, into clarity. Daniel planned everything. He ended his family's suffering gently, leaving handwritten notes apologizing for his failure to protect them. Then he invited Richard Hale to the house under the pretense of settling things privately. What Hale didn't know was that Daniel had already scheduled emails to be sent. Copies of the courthouse documents went out to federal agencies, oversight committees, and journalists. Timed emails. Irrevocable. When Hale arrived, confident as ever, Daniel confronted him. Not with anger, but with truth. He laid out every crime, every bribe, every ruined life. Hale laughed. He threatened Daniel. Promised to make him disappear. Promised that no one would ever believe him. That was when Daniel shot him. Once. Cleanly. Daniel turned himself in the next morning. He confessed to everything. But the trial never happened, because the emails arrived. Federal indictments followed within weeks. Judges resigned. Convictions were overturned. Careers ended overnight. Richard Hale's legacy collapsed, revealed not as a pillar of justice, but as its parasite. Daniel Mercer was sentenced, but not as harshly as many expected. Prosecutors struggled to paint him as a monster when the monster he killed had destroyed so many lives. In the end, Daniel accepted his punishment without protest, as he always had. The Mercer house still stands, quiet, empty, and if there's a lesson in what happened inside those walls, it is this. Power often mistakes silence for weakness. It assumes the overlooked are harmless. It forgets that even the quietest people are watching. And sometimes justice does not arrive wearing a badge. Sometimes it comes from the shadows, patient, unnoticed, and finally unavoidable.